Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already, yes, you may clap. In one term, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who have served 2 terms in office.
Welcome to the Michele Tafoya podcast.
Well, that was Kamala Harris in her first public remarks since being named the nominee. Can you be named a nominee for President of the United States? I don't think so. There's something about delegates. There's something about a convention. There's something about getting votes. I think if we're still America, those things apply. But here we go. Nancy Pelosi has endorsed her. Former President Biden. And that probably is actually accurate. Biden has endorsed her. Others have endorsed Kamala Harris. So let's just call her the presumptive nominee. They still have to go through a lot of processes. Yes, even the Democrat Party, which says democracy is on the ballot and that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, they have shoved aside, I believe forcefully, and I believe this is Nancy Pelosi's direction. Joe Biden was given a choice. You either go now or we're going to make it really ugly. And so Joe Biden said, I'll go now. No television appearance, no photograph of him signing this letter that he posted out on X, no formal announcement, no interview. It just happened. And then suddenly he endorsed Kamala Harris, and now the dominoes are falling like crazy. So this is where we are. This is where we are. And it's only going to get zanier from here. It's hard to imagine. But all of those people who criticized Kamala Harris for whatever reasons, her lack of popularity, her laugh at inappropriate moments, her complete and utter failure at the border, all of those people who criticize those things are suddenly lining up now for Kamala because they do not want to lose power. These next few months are going to be insane. So we thought we'd talk to a couple of people about it. Tammy Bruce is a Fox News contributor. She's the author of many best-selling books, including a new one called Fear Itself. You see her on Outnumbered and a number of shows. I've met her when I've done some appearances on Fox. She used to be a liberal, the president of the National Organization of Women. You'll find out what changed her in our next episode with Tammy that's forthcoming. But she's got some ideas about what the hell is going on right now with the Democrat Party. We're also going to talk to Pastor Corey Brooks. You may know him as the rooftop pastor. He gave the benediction at last week's Republican National Convention, and he is a Republican. And so he is supporting the Trump-Vance ticket. He is from the south side of Chicago. You may have seen him in articles on TV, on whether it's on social media, whatever. He has made quite a name for himself for his efforts in Chicago. He's going to give us his take, which is very, very interesting on what's going on. You're going to want to hear from both of these amazing guests. They are both coming up next. But before we go there, let me remind you, economists are warning that massive tax hikes could devastate your IRA and 401k account as the stock market braces for impact. With inflation on the rise and global uncertainty looming, it's clear why central banks and savvy Americans are turning to gold. If you haven't had your eye on gold, time to make it a priority. I urge you to call my friends at Priority Gold to find out how they can help you diversify your savings with physical gold and silver. Call 1-800-405-GOLD or visit prioritygold.com/golden for a free gold info guide. Plus, see if you qualify for free shipping and storage. Experts agree that physical gold is one of the best ways to fortify your savings no matter the economic climate. Act now to get your portfolio working for you while the market is golden. Call 1-800-405-GOLD to speak with a gold specialist or visit prioritygold.com/golden to learn more. That's 1-800-405-GOLD or online at prioritygold.com/golden and find out how to diversify your portfolio. We've got a diverse portfolio today. We've got Tammy Bruce and we've got the rooftop pastor, Pastor Corey Brooks, to talk about this zany election week. That is next. can't think of anyone better to talk to right now about the political situation we are in than Tammy Bruce. She has just written a book that's coming out, Fear Itself. She has an article in Real Clear Politics today. And Tammy, let's just cut to the chase. Biden was forced out. This is not Biden stepping down. Would you agree with my assessment there?
Well, yes. And there's even some conversation on social media. I saw Bill Ackman, who's a major philanthropist and hedge fund guy, noting that the signature was an automated signature, that it wasn't handmade. So there's many questions. There's some jokes out there about, has anybody told Biden that he stepped down?
Yeah.
That we need a proof of life from the president. But things move so quickly, Michele, that we tend to, it's understandable. It's like holding on to a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You tend to not notice the details. That is part of the point. And so things are moving quickly, but on the president's schedule, it's blank. And the one reason he gave in the letter was that he wanted to be able to just be president and focus on that one job. And yet, and I know that he's recovering from COVID, but you still, as we saw during COVID, that you can still do your job. You can still be president. You can still have conversations. You can still, as we've learned as broadcasters, you can still do television. You can do radio, and you can sound like a frog a little bit like I do. All of us have been talking, even though I'm talking and I can't shut up. We've really been talking for the last, it's been a week and 2 days, 9 days since the assassination attempt. So we're all in a very unique position. And I think that you consider the series of events, the horrible debate, the assassination attempt happening 15 days later, the RNC happening on schedule with an injured Trump, the honoring of Corey, our firefighter who was killed that day. Then you have the Biden campaign insisting he's not dropping out. And then he gets COVID and he goes back to Delaware. And then we get a letter on personal stationery that is auto-signed, not giving any reason for this.
Right.
So I think that clearly there was pressure from most sides, and it certainly contradicts their argument, their constant argument about saving democracy, because I don't know how this does that.
It's very undemocratic. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
And that has been pointed out by multitudes of people, how bad this looks. Mm-hmm. And now it appears at the moment that Kamala Harris, the vice president, is getting the support of most of the Democratic establishment, minus some very big exceptions like former President Barack Obama, like Hakeem Jeffries, at least as you and I are speaking. Things can change on a dime, as we've seen over the last 10 days.
Right.
But this is interesting. What do you make of the fact that she's on the phone, she's trying to get support, but that some of these major players, Nancy Pelosi, aren't there yet?
It's understandable, a political tactic. She wants to make herself, indisputable. She's trying to rush ahead to capture all the flags in order to be the one. But this is, of course, it's questionable. I mean, you've got she's taken apparently control of the $91 million in the Biden-Harris campaign fund. She is still the vice president only. Biden has not relinquished or resigned from the presidency. She has not, in her life for the presidency, when she ran against Biden during the primary, she dropped out very early, never received a vote, never won even a state. And yet she's moving herself in as though Biden is not even the president. So as vice president, she would naturally take over the presidency. But now it's like, well, Biden endorsed her. I understand that people can endorse and not endorse, but the result of the primaries were the attachment of delegates to that individual. And there's still no nominee. They still have to do it through the convention. And there are some rules in some states where they are required to vote for the person on the first ballot, the delegates at a convention, for the person that won. And that's Joe Biden. So the Democrats have some legal issues. They have some rules issues they have to deal with. We know there were other Democrats interested in being president, and they were shut out of the process. Joe Manchin has made some noise about maybe coming back as a Democrat and, running. What it does show us is that we would have, I think it's the first time in 56 years, someone who did not win a vote in a primary or win a primary in any state would be the nominee of a major party. And considering the rhetoric over the last 8 to 10 years about saving democracy, I'm not sure how the Democrats imagine this, but mostly if you're going to effectively move a soft coup in this environment, wouldn't you want to choose someone who it can be separate from the issues that matter to the American people? Trump is getting support because of the issues, not because they didn't like Joe Biden. It's because of the economy and because of crime and because of the open border and because of the international situation. So why would you choose someone who comes with exactly the same baggage, has the exactly poor popularity ratings, and expect that person to beat Trump when it's about the issues?
Do you think she's the sacrificial lamb that they kind of know on the one hand, we may not be able to beat Trump, so throw her out there. Let's, she'll lose and she'll never be a candidate again because of that. I don't know. Anything's possible.
She wouldn't, if that was the scenario, she wouldn't do it. You wouldn't want, just like her dropping out early when she ran for president. Why would you want another failure? We saw what it did to Hillary losing to Donald Trump. But what they are, and to your point, they are extremely worried, understandably, about the down ballot. This could be an effort. And if she's, I don't know, maybe she really believes, look, the left is deluded most of the time. She clearly is deluded, that she could win. But it also means that they need someone at the top. If they're worried about young people and the people that are anti-Israel and perhaps pro-Hamas, if it's the squad that's worried, that they think that this candidacy will draw those people in. My goodness, it's exactly this dynamic regarding Israel and the violence and the defunding the police and all the other stuff that Kamala Harris is much more left on that than Joe Biden ever was. He went along with it, but my goodness, why would they think that that person who is like doubly bad on the issues that Americans care about would win? But if it pulls, the problem for them is Democrats not voting for Trump. Some are, but Democrats staying home because there's no one to vote for. If they think if they can get people to the polls, that then maybe they can save some House seats or maybe not lose the Senate. I think that's pie in the sky. But as we've seen, anything is possible.
I mean, now more than ever, we cherish free speech and we got to hang on to it. It's at the very heart of our democracy. It's a principle we hold sacred. It's the cornerstone that supports every freedom we value. But in this digital age, discussions about our wealth, our rights, and our future are being muffled or overshadowed or even silenced in mainstream narratives. And that leaves a lot of people feeling voiceless in conversations about our financial independence and security. And this is where wealth protection research steps in, armed with a mission that's never been more critical. Wealth Protection Research isn't a financial advisory firm. They're defenders of free speech committed to giving a voice to the silenced. Wealth Protection Research tirelessly seeks out financial experts. These are the voices that challenge prevailing narratives, especially as we navigate the growing uncertainties of the 2024 election. Wealth Protection Research has created a 2024 Election Wealth Protection Report. This free report highlights the 3 best ideas for protecting and growing your money heading into the 2024 election. It contains ideas the mainstream media won't touch, and listeners can get it completely free by texting IDEAS to 76626. If you believe in the sanctity of free speech and the importance of financial freedom, act right now. Text IDEAS, IDEAS, to 76626 to claim your free copy of this 2024 election protection report. It's time to widen the scope of what we're told, to hear the ideas the establishment doesn't think you can handle, and to take control of our financial destinies. Text IDEAS to 76626 to claim your free copy. So I've had an opportunity to speak with Corey Brooks. Now, if that name doesn't sound familiar, how about this one? The rooftop pastor. He has spent days on a rooftop in Chicago. I think he's not on a roof when we're talking to him, but trying to bring attention to the things that are going on in Chicago, the constant gang violence and so forth. And if you look at his page on X, his profile page, it says leading with purpose, inspiring and empowering others in every walk of life. This organization is called The Hood, helping others obtain destiny. So Corey Brooks, the rooftop pastor, has some definite thoughts about what's going on with the current political climate. Whether it's in the wake of the assassination attempt, Joe Biden being forced to step down, Kamala Harris trying to pick up the mantle. On Monday, Kamala Harris made her first sort of appearance as the presumptive nominee, or is the nominee in waiting? I'm not even sure what we should call her. But here's a little glimpse of this awkward first appearance in front of a crowd.
Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already, yes, you may clap.
So there we go. You may notice she curbed her laughter after a certain little laugh. And maybe she's being told to curb that laughter because it is one of those things that people say is used at inappropriate times. So anywho, Corey Brooks, like I said, the pastor, the rooftop pastor, the founder of Project Hood, has some thoughts about what's going on. So we talked to Tammy Bruce. Now let's hear what Corey Brooks has to say. So Corey, you gave the benediction at the convention, the Republican National Convention, which indicates to me that you're going to support Donald Trump. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that would be an accurate assessment. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative Republican, and I'm going to support the person who represents our party, and that happens to be Donald Trump. So I'm in full support.
What do you think about the way that these last few days have gone for the Democrats? The fact that they say Joe Biden stepped aside, I think he was probably pushed, that based on everything, all the tea leaves we're all reading.
Yeah.
And that now it appears, now that Nancy Pelosi has endorsed Kamala Harris, that Kamala will be the nominee for the Democrats. How does that make you more nervous about the election? Does it make you more confident about the election?
It definitely makes me more nervous. I did not believe that President Biden would have a chance after the debate. It was all downhill.
Yeah.
So there was nothing left for him to be able to do but throw in the towel. Now that they've already decided, it looks like, on who that person is going to be, who was the vice president, I think that it'll be a much more difficult task. I still believe that President Trump will win, but facing Vice President Harris is going to be a much more difficult task than it would have been with President Biden.
You know, till now, and we'll see, this will probably give her a bump in the polls, the fact that she's getting a lot of support from Democrats. But until now, her favorability was even lower than Joe Biden's. So why do you suppose they've chosen her? Is it just the easiest way, or what do you think?
You know, we've talked about this a lot, me and my team, and, they were kind of pushed in a corner. I think Malcolm X says it well, the chickens came home to roost. It's kind of hard to keep pushing and playing the race card and then overlook a black woman. So I think they were kind of pushed into a corner to where they knew, listen, there is no way possible, even though her likability is down, and even though we don't think she can win, we really can't afford not to put her in place, because it would have just been devastating for the Republican Party. A lot of blacks would have definitely turned their back on that party for years to come. So they're kind of forced into a situation.
So given that, but the fact is now that they've erased that, oh, he's too old to be president, that's not an issue for them anymore. She doesn't have a great record. She has a terrible record, as borders are, if that's in fact what she really was.
Definitely.
And I'm not really sure what she's done. And this is going to be interesting. And 4 months is a lifetime in politics. What advice would you give to Trump and Vance and the Republican Party as a whole in terms of countering whatever bump she might get?
Well, one, stay on the issues. I think a lot of times that our party, we get off into the left field. All we have to do is stay on the issues. The immigration and the border is a big concern for a lot of Americans. The economy is a big concern for a lot of Americans. And then who do we want to represent us against foreign nations? That is a big issue for all Americans, regardless of what color you are, regardless of your religious affiliations. Those are issues that all of us can relate to. And if we can just stay on the issues, I think we'll be okay. And then, of course, over 4 months, they're going to have so many things that come up about her, I'm sure, that will definitely lean toward people voting for President Trump.
This is, the craziest election I've ever seen.
Yeah.
What about you?
It definitely is. I mean, who would ever have thought that the sitting president would give up his nomination to run for a second term? I could have never have imagined that. And to be living in a day and a time where the Democratic Party that claims to be so democratic, that they would take the voice away from their voters and push a person into place without having people have a chance to vote on who they want. That says a lot about the times that we live in.
It does, because the Democrats have been lecturing us that democracy is at stake if Donald Trump is elected. And we just saw democracy get usurped, just completely usurped. Now they still have to go through a convention, and that will be an interesting thing. And that will be in Chicago. So the political environment continues to be hot. It will get chilly, maybe around September, October. So let me tell you about my friends at besthotgrill.com, who also make the best gas logs for your fireplace. Now is the time to prepare for the colder fall and winter seasons. Now is the moment. With rising energy costs, you'll want a warm one room, not your entire home, with a blazing Rasmussen gas log fire. With the convenience and controllability of a natural gas or propane gas log set, you can reduce the time you use your furnace. Gas logs are also an excellent source of emergency heat to keep your family warm during worrisome power outages. Rasmussen gas logs also make your fireplace look great when it's not in use. If your room has a modern or contemporary design, check out Rasmussen popular fireballs and firestones. Get a free personalized log set sizing recommendation, and for more information about USA-made Rasmussen gas logs and Solaire infrared grills, at besthotgrill.com. That's besthotgrill.com. USA-made Rasmussen gas logs and Solaire infrared grills at besthotgrill.com. So before I get your thoughts on the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, what was your big takeaway from being at the RNC? There are people... Even Van Jones on CNN said, something's happening. I haven't seen excitement like this since Barack Obama in 2008. What was your overall sense of, just the feel and the spirit and the momentum at the RNC?
Well, everyone was on fire. Everyone was so nice. Everyone was focused, and it was so passionate. I think the biggest takeaway was the fact that we were able to stay on messaging. The messaging for the convention was perfect. Yeah. It was almost as if Donald Trump used some of his TV entertainment personality and style to bring those messages together, because it actually was presented almost like a film unrolling, piece after piece after piece, segment after segment after segment, all running seamlessly together. That's what it was all about. So the messaging was great, and it was all woven perfectly together.
I felt the same way watching as a viewer at home. I felt like it was so well organized, and there
Yes.
were no, there were no real, like you kind of holding your breath, like please don't screw this up, because this is so on message. And I thought the everyday Americans were remarkable. That the people who got up and told their stories, whether
Yes.
it was Amber Rose, who's not really an everyday American, but she is someone who's turned the page, and the mom of the guy who was fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq, who only to come home and be stabbed in New York. She was amazing. The
Yes.
mom of the fentanyl, the kid who died of the fentanyl overdose.
Yes.
All of those were so powerful. I can't
Yeah.
imagine. What was it like inside that building when those people were speaking?
Yeah, those were the nights, the Tuesday night that I was on. So I had the chance to sit backstage with all of them. And when I tell you, they were some of the most genuine, loving people. And I was almost amazed once they hit the stage. It's like they totally went into and they shifted another gear, because when you meet them backstage, they were all so nice, so calm. And all of them talked about their families. And I really appreciated the stories, and I really appreciated how they translated that to all of America, because those stories needed to be heard, and those families really were heartfelt.
Absolutely. And I'm going to continue to help tell your story in any way that I can, because yours is important too. It affects so many Chicagoans. You're going to be there in Chicago, I would imagine, during the DNC. What are you bracing for? What do you think it's going to be like?
I think it's going to be a real wild time. I don't see them being able to hold the messaging like the RNC. I don't think they're going to be able to weave together a nice storyline. It's going to be a real tough convention. And then all the things that are going to be probably going on, all the protests and all of those things, they've got an uphill battle coming.
Well, you know things about uphill because you've spent a lot of time on a roof. So, so you're the expert on that. And it's just an absolute pleasure to speak with you. And I hope we can do it again, because I'd love to know how your progress is going and continue to be inspired by you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's get together during the Democratic National Convention and talk some more.
Let's do it. That's a great idea. Let's do it. Now, at the moment, we still are a democratic republic. And at the heart of our democracy lies a principle that is sacred, and that is free speech. It's the cornerstone supporting every freedom we cherish. But here we are in a digital age, and discussions about wealth, our rights, our future are being silenced, overshadowed in mainstream narratives. And I know that leaves a lot of you feeling voiceless in conversations that are crucial to our financial independence and security. And this is where Wealth Protection Research steps in. They are armed with a mission that's never been more critical. Wealth Protection Research isn't a financial advisory firm. They're defenders of free speech. They're committed to giving a voice to the silenced. Wealth Protection Research tirelessly seeks out financial experts. These are the voices that challenge prevailing narratives, especially as we navigate the uncertainties of this upcoming 2024 election. Wealth Protection Research has created a 2024 Election Wealth Protection Report. This is a free report. It highlights the 3 best ideas for protecting and growing your money heading into the 2024 election. It contains ideas the mainstream media won't touch, and you can get it completely free by texting the word ideas to 76626. If you believe, as I do, in the sanctity of free speech and the importance of financial freedom, act right now. Text ideas to 76626 to get your free copy of this 2024 Election Protection Report. It's time to widen the scope of what we're told, to hear the ideas the establishment doesn't think you can handle, and to take control of our financial destinies. Text IDEAS, IDEAS, to 76626 to claim your free copy right now. So I end every podcast by saying, be brave, do good. I genuinely mean this. And one of the things about being brave is by making the decision that you're an individual and that no matter what skin tone you have, what gender you identify as, where you're from, where your family's from, you are an individual and you are responsible for determining what your values are. So be brave enough to do that and then go do some good with it. And by that, it means anything from tipping your waitress an extra buck or smiling at the UPS guy as he drops off the package at your front door, or asking a neighbor if they could use some help bringing in their groceries. Little bits of good go so far. And I'm convinced of that. And I'm convinced that we can overcome a lot of the darkness in the world if there's a lot of good, small little good deeds done. So be brave, do good, and let's hope that we wake up to a little bit more calm tomorrow. We'll see you next time.